Hi, so I'm doing a crab. I'm gonna work on something like this blue crab because I just think they're prettier. Let's paint a crab. When I draw anything, I always talk about how everything is comprised of a shape. So this is a crab. You can see it's kind of got this, I don't even know what shape that would be, but it's just kind of like shapes. So we're gonna start with his body. And the first thing I'm gonna do is draw a light little line right here in the middle. So this is kind of mimicking this long line right here, okay? So that's that line right there. And then I'm going to come up here. And I want to make sure I have enough room. I should probably bring him down a little bit. I'm hoping I'm not shaking too bad. The camera, that camera's going to shake when I do it. I'm going to come down just a smidge. Okay, so there's that. And I'm going to kind of just draw that middle shape very quickly. When you sketch, just try not to like be a perfectionist in it. Just sketch it and then you can come back and erase lines. I hate how it's like wobbly from that it's stuck to my table. My friend Kara showed me the one she has, which I might have to invest in so it's not attached to my table. It doesn't shake when I erase because I am a serious eraser. I like to erase things. Or attach it to something next to here. That might be another idea. I'm always trying to figure out ways to not have to buy something. Okay, so here's the body of my crab. Let's look at the shape of this a little bit better. So this comes up, this dips down just a smidge, this comes out, this is longer. And this comes down here. So it kind of looks like a mouth when you think about it. And we'll come in and put different details in it now. So then the crab, he has arms that come up. So I'm just drawing some like little highlighted lines to show kind of where it's at. I'm going to do one going this way. And the thing is, use a picture as a reference, but you don't need to necessarily copy the picture, like give it your own spin. So I am just giving him some legs here that I will come and fill in for that. So now we're going to come in and create his arms. So his top arms are a little bit wider. He has like this little elbow part, and then I'm coming up and going to work on his claw. I hope you guys are having an awesome Wednesday. I hate we had to miss last Wednesday's live, but as y'all know, it was Merritt's birthday, so we were doing all the birthday things, and I wasn't at home and all that. So there's my first claw, and then I'm going to come and do something very similar over here. He kind of has like a bigger arm, and then this kind of like elbow. I don't know if crabs have elbows, but it sounds about right. Then I'm going to do a claw, and this claw I might make it look a little different. I don't really know exactly what crabs look like. If I had a real crab in here, that would probably be ideal, but pictures work just as well. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, I am going to Instagram. I'm so sorry if you guys are getting all shaky over there. I'm going to have to fix that. And I still got some crazy shadows going on Facebook, but okay, that is my job before the end of quarantine, is to figure out the perfect setup. Now I'm just working on like some extra little claws. I'm gonna come in here, and these are just little lines that I'm just adding to. So you see how I draw like a line, and then I come in, might make that a little bit longer. I come in and I just make that line bigger and give it a little bit of, you know, character and stuff. As for this crab arm, guys, I think I might switch it up. Sorry, Instagram, you're gonna get shaky. I'm gonna kind of make it come more this way. So let's try that again. So I have my arm, my elbow of my crab, if that's a thing, and then I'm going to come up, and then I'm going to build a crab, what would you call that? Claw. The claw. Y'all, I have such the hardest time with words. And y'all can tell in my voice too, I'm still like super exhausted just trying to get over last week. It was a very busy week, and this week is in the same because I've had to use my brain a lot in terms of writing reports and stuff. If you didn't know, on Insta Story, also you can see my Insta Stories on Facebook if you go to that little highlight. What would that be? Facebook stories? I don't even know what they call those things, but anything I put on Instagram stories goes straight over to Facebook stories, so you can always see what I'm referring to there. But I had to finish our progress report yesterday, and for Arch-Davidson County, and it took a lot of brain power, which wears me out. Okay, so this one has some kind of like, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And so mine are going to go down. I'm going to make them my own. So it looks like this claw is very similar to those other ones. But this one's really fat. It's kind of a fat claw at the bottom. And I guess these are the same way. So if it's red or if it's not, it's still got a fatter claw at the bottom. But you see how I use different types of pictures so I can kind of get a better idea of what things look like. That is one of my tips is, you know, if y'all know, I got my artwork stolen, and I'm all for like, you know, steal ideas, not really necessarily steal someone's ideas and claim it as your own, but build off other people's ideas and how they've created things. And that's the same thing I do when I'm sketching and creating. Like, I can't think in my head, like, what does a crab look like? Like, I don't know. I don't really pay much attention to what crabs look like. So I have to go and do some research and look up different pictures of crabs and different ways they're shaped. And then I'll make my own thing. So this is a thing. I might be borrowing these pictures to get an idea of what crabs look like and also the colors. But I turn these into something that's completely different. So that's the difference between, you know, borrowing ideas, meaning you pick something up, you investigate it, you figure out how you can make it your own, versus let me just steal your artwork. And an update on that, I found it was on this like Teacher T website or something. I got that one taken down. It's on another website, which I have not contacted them yet. I'm trying to wait on my actual official certificate to come in from the copyright office, just so I have even more leverage on that. I found it also on Etsy. So I got that one taken down. Etsy's a great platform. As y'all know, I'm an Etsy lover, and they took it down right away. So just, if you see it anywhere else, let me know. It's going to be a huge rabbit chase, but you know, if it's an easy process and I can get it taken down, I'm going to. All right, so you're going to see here, now I'm working on a little bit more of the details. So the crab, which I don't like how I did that, the crab has these little spikes coming up, so I'm going to add those in. I'm going to do a little bit neater than what I was doing. This comes down, I think they have like little eyes here. We're going to put them there because I think they're cute. And then we're going to come down here. I'm going to follow my same pattern of the zigzagging lines. This comes out. There is this like kind of skeleton looking thing inside this crab. I don't know if you can see that, but just little accent lines that I can play off of when I am working on it. That needs to come down a little bit lower. But y'all, this is the process. I just like start creating, start sketching and painting. And then this is how it always works in terms of when I'm doing a custom for anybody. I sketch it, I paint it, I get it in the computer. Here's another one I painted, or I sketched kind of earlier trying to get the forming. And the best part about the computer is I can, if something's messed up on one side, I can actually fix it in the computer. So that's why I kind of like the fact that I don't always sell originals. I can fix things. All right. I don't know if there's any questions so far. Look, my hand is in the way. Okay, so also too, you can see that like the arm of this guy, he's got some spikes on him too. And then the claws also, I think the top one might not have anything. It's kind of looks solid, but this bottom one has some definition to it. I guess not definition's the right word, like more claw to it. All right, so now I'm just going to add some little highlights to them, see if there's any other things that I need to consider when I'm doing this. Looks like that's kind of fatter. It's kind of funny doing this live because normally I have my music jamming, but you can't do that on live because they will shut you down. Instagram, I don't know if y'all have anything to say, but I'll look at y'all later. Okay, so there's my guy. I'm going to now kind of come back in and lighten up some of these lines because I did get a little heavy-handed with that. My house phone's ringing. Yes, I have a house phone. Old school. All right. Okay. Is it for me? Who is it? I'm on Instagram Live, Casey. Hello. No, it's fine. I'll call you back in a minute. Say hey, Casey.
Hi, y'all. I can tell I didn't notice my sister was live today. It is Wednesday, but it's not 2 o'clock. Isn't it usually 2?
It's normally 10, but I had to do sales tax.
Yeah, you know, got to pay Uncle Sam.
Oh, gracious.
All right, well, call me back.
I'll call you back. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Love you. All right. That was author Casey Peeler. If you don't follow her, you totally should. She writes books. She's pretty cool because she's related to me. Anyway, so here's my crab. It's pretty well painted. I'm gonna see if I can turn these lights up a little bit. Nope. A little bit. Okay, so now let's start with the fun part, which is painting. I'm going to get myself some new water. I did not do that. I was busy doing my sales tax, and it took me a little longer this time because I had a lot of North Carolina orders this time around. Okay, so let me get my paint. Make sure y'all can see me. I think I'm gonna move my paint over here. I gotta get it all set up. Okay. So I am using a number 4 round brush. As I mentioned one before, I got these new paint brushes, and they're not terrible, but the sizing's weird. I don't really understand their sizing, but whatever. Okay, so for this crab, it's a lot of blue, there's browns, it's like some cool hip colors. So the thing I'm gonna do first is I'm probably gonna do a very light wash of the blue. That is I really want to use like a slate blue kind of color, but my slate blue color is not good. Okay, here's another. Okay, so I'm going to take the blue and I'm going to put a little bit of the black in it. I don't know if y'all can even see that. So I'm taking black and blue and mixing it together to make it kind of like this darker blue color. So you just have to play around with colors because you just never know. I'm not a color person. Like when it comes to figuring out colors, it's so hard for me. So that's where I'm at with that. So I'm going to water this down really good because I want my first base color to be very light. So I'm not even going to dip it back in the paint yet. I'm just going to take with the paint I put down on my palette. I'm going to just spread that around by adding more water. And we're going to just keep adding. And I'm sorry, Instagram. I know this thing is wobbling. I'm going to have to fix that for next week, so no worries. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just add blue to the other parts of this, and we'll add more on top of it. I'm going to have to get a little extra paint. So your first base color, I always suggest light as you can go, because you can't really go lighter once you've gone dark. So just make sure that you keep it light at the beginning and then get darker as you go. So there's that. I should have a paper towel, but of course I don't. Alright, so now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some brown. So I'm going to come over here and find some brown, a shade that I like. And I always, you know, I've talked about this before, I get my brush wet, I stick it in my paint, and I swirl it on my palette to get it to the consistency I want, okay? So now I'm going to come in and just start adding brown to this middle part over the blue to kind of start blending it in. And honestly, y'all, like, I can't really tell you why I do what I do. Just the best thing when it comes to painting, just try stuff out. I mean, just try it out. You know, see what works, see what doesn't work. Start light, go to dark. You know, you can always paint over some things if you need to. So I'll do this brown, and then I'll probably come back over it again and add some darker blue. All right, so now I'm going to kind of, this has like some little red in it, so I don't want it to be too red. So I'm going to mix the red with like kind of a brown to give it kind of a rusty red color. And I'm going to add some of that up here to this claw. And the beauty of this though, y'all, if I get done with this painting it and I'm like, ew, that's terrible, you know what I do? I just draw it and I paint it again. Sometimes elements and things have to be drawn a couple of times for you to get it right. And then sometimes you draw something, you paint it, and the first time around it is like perfection. So don't be too hard on yourself if you mess up. Just try again. It's not a big deal. Perfection is overrated, for sure. Okay, so there's my little red claws. Now I'm going to come and add a little bit of a brighter blue to it. So I'm just adding brighter blue to what I was working on before. And I'm going to come in and just hit it with some of the blue, leaving some white space, as they call it. Gosh, Instagram, I'm sorry. I know it's shaking like a leaf up there. It's so crazy. I thought for sure this week would be spot on perfect because I had redone everything, but it's not. I feel like I'm kind of rushing a little bit, so hopefully this turns out decent. All right, let me turn it around so my hand does not get in the way. That's the one thing that drives me nuts. It's when I get my hand smudged. Keep it going. I have learned the best time for me to paint in my studio is in the afternoon because the sunlight is so much better. So after summer, that's when I might go back to my 2 o'clock Instagram live, because right now, you know, my kids like to go to the pool, so I try to be nice and take them to the pool. So that's why I try to move it up, so that way we can spend the afternoon doing whatever we want. I'm just adding more blue here. But when the school starts back, they're going to be digital learning for a while, so that should be fun. So I might switch it back to 2 o'clock, so that way the lighting will be better for everybody. Okay, so here I am now with my crab. We're not done yet, so we're going to keep building up on this. So that means I'm just going to get darker and darker with my paints and just hit it in certain spots. Then I'm going to come back and add some more brown. I don't really like how this middle part looks. It looks terrible right now, honestly. So I'll have to keep working on it. You can see how it bled into that. I kind of like how that looks. The thing too about painting live is that if it looks terrible, I can't throw it away and you guys don't know it exists. So y'all get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly when I paint live. But that's okay. That's the whole point. There was one artist I follow, and she paints online too sometimes for lives, and she was just talking about how she had painted a example before she went live, which I have not done here. And she said how terrible it was, and I was like, oh, that makes me feel better. Because sometimes you feel like people just have this talent and they can just, you know, make beautiful things every time out of nothing. Well, I'm not one of those people, guys. I make some ugly stuff. And I think that's the beauty of art too. Like, you've got to make ugly stuff in order to make beautiful stuff. Because, you know, you're always constantly practicing. I really like that dark blue. I'm gonna add some more into there. And as you see, my crab looks basically nothing like the picture. I need a darker brown. Okay, we're just gonna drop some color in here and see what happens. Build it up a little bit, and you can see you can't really see my lines I had drawn in there before. Okay, so now I'm going to come back in with that blue at the top. I'm going to keep adding to it, and I'm going to blend all this together and see what it looks like. Ooh, I don't know what that is. All right. Okay, so now I'm coming in with my darkest colors, and you can see I kind of like how that looks. And I don't really like how this red is. So I'm going to see how I can tone that down a little bit. Maybe add a little bit more brown to it, but water it down so I'm not Getting crazy with it. And I can pick up the paint. If I got a little crazy, I can always wet my brush and pick up the paint, and it'll be fine. The only time like I really care and worry when I'm doing something like this is if I'm doing like a, I sometimes get commissioned to do artwork for people. Like I've painted an animal before. I've done a couple houses before. My mom wants me to paint her grandkids, so that should be fun. So when I do stuff like that, that's the times I am like I'm not quick with it. This thing is fuzzing everywhere. I take my time. I make sure that my hands are clean because I don't want to get little bits on my paper. But stuff like this, I typically don't care. And sometimes people ask to buy the originals, which if anybody ever wants to buy an original that I have painted, just ask. They're all available. Some of them have sold at the last art show I had, but I've got a ton of originals. So maybe if you guys think it's a good idea, maybe I should do some sort of a studio sale at some point where I offer up all of the art that I have. All right, I'm gonna come this way. But you see, I'm just adding layer upon layer, and the middle of that guy, he is like soaking wet with paint. But that's okay. I like how he looks now. It's cool. He's got more character. And then I might add this brown in here to just hit some of the spots, especially where the joints are. Let me do that. Oop. Okay. And you can see I can pull some of this up. I'm like, oh, that's too much brown in that section. I just wetting my brush, pulling the water out, and then I'm picking up paint. I don't know what's happening in the background, guys. There's a vacuum cleaner going, I think. It's going to be like this for a while, though, because since I said my kids aren't going back to school. I'm used to it now. I hate the idea of actually having to get up early in the morning again. Okay, so let's keep going on these little claws. I'm going to add more of my darker blue and then hit it with some brown. This little guy down here. So I'm literally mixing blue and a little bit of black in my palette to create this kind of really cool blue color. And then I'm coming back in with some of this kind of brownish, dark brown, so you can see where the joints are. All right, there's another joint. Okay. So you see how he comes to life? So at first I was like, ooh, this guy looks horrible. Just keep working at it. The key to it is you just got to know when to quit. Because sometimes you might realize, oh, and you keep adding and you keep adding, and all of a sudden you got a hot mess on your hands. And that's okay too. Sometimes you have to learn your quitting spot. And sometimes I quit before I should, and I have to come back and add something. And sometimes that happens when I already have the art in my computer, and I'm like, oh, I should have done something differently. And if I can't fix it digitally, then I will add some more to it and then put it back in the computer. All right, we've about got this. And when he dries, I might add some like white highlights with ink. I'll show y'all every time what ink I use, but I'll show you again here in a second. All right, more of this. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the brown and see where it needs it. I think like right in here. And also too, you'll notice when it dries, I don't know what is so muddy in my palette, but you know what it is? It's my water cup, I think. My water cup has a bunch of junk in it. So there I am. Sometimes I'll let painting sit for a bit and see if there is anything else that needs to be added. Like here, I kind of want that to be more defined. Where it's roller skating in here again.
Drinking a soda.
A soda?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that.
Ooh, the crab looks pretty.
Oh, thank you. So you'll see there's like different elements on the crab, this blue one, that we can add once this dries. So I might come back in and lighten up some of this stuff. Like, I might add some white here because I see a couple of white elements in here. I might add some texture in here using, you know, white. But this is just kind of like your representation of a crab. You can also come back in with the watercolors and like add some things. So I could technically come in here and add like, you know, those elements that were covered up from when I painted. So I might can do that. So you'll see that. So you can come back in with other colors and you can smudge it in if it's too dark. That might have been too much of a smudge. I don't know what I was doing here, but I don't like that, so I'm going to get rid of it. There you have it. And see too, I wish I had a paper towel. Why do I never have a paper towel? Hey Merritt, bring me a paper towel. All right. Oh, she brought me 3, so I can use that for next time. So if I needed to bring up some white space, so like right here, I might want this to be a little whiter. I will just put water on it and pull up the color. I don't know if y'all see how that works. So I'll add a little bit of water, and then I'll use a paper towel and pull it up. And that'll give me some white space that I didn't, you know, add in here. That needs to be. So you see it pulls right up. So I might do some of that in here. Just pull up a little bit of the paint. So sometimes if you mess up really bad, I mean, I don't want to say really bad, but you know, if you did get paint on something that you didn't want, you can try this. See if you can pull it up. I have realized that like you can do this easier with a cold press paper. And what I mean by cold press, I mean paper with more texture for some reason. It seems to work better. Some of the hot press paper are very smooth, but sometimes it's harder to pull it up. I'm just trying to define right here these little crab indentions. I don't know what my husband's telling my kids, but apparently. All right, see, I'm keeping at it. This is what I do. I just look at it, I keep at it. Sometimes I might stop and go to the pool, in this case, and then come back to it. And just so y'all know, remember I told you I was doing YouTube, and I am doing YouTube, but I am so behind on life right now. I have videos that I need to like upload in there, and I haven't done it. It's just like, it's overwhelming. Life's overwhelming right now. And that's okay. All right, so I'm going to pull some of that up. I think that's a little too dark. But you see how I can, you know, pull it up just straight with my paintbrush. It just soaks it right up. Which is the coolest thing about watercolor. You can't do that with acrylic. Okay, so I think that I'm going to leave them for now. Come back to them, see if there's anything I need to add to it after he dries, and I look at him and come back. Like, I think there could be some more, like, happening there. I don't know what color, though. It's just kind of bleh. So, you know, that's just the beauty of it. You just come back and forth. Oh, this might be nice. It's kind of like a purpley color. That's a little better. Okay. So there you have it, guys. There's my crab. Hey guys, what are we supposed to tell him to do?
Make sure you like,